Good evening, friends, and welcome to our nightly meditation practice. You might notice that I moved to a different corner of the room today. I think it's a little brighter and maybe a little more difficult for me to meditate as a householder, but clearly brighter, and so it makes a better picture. So this is, I only have one more night in this hotel apartment before we move to our apartment on the other side of town. So it doesn't really matter, right? This won't last very long at all. But so I'm starting a little bit early tonight, just feeling rather tired. Need to get to bed earlier tonight than I have lately. So I thought we'd get started and we'd do our meditation. And as we always do, I will start by paying homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Again, thank you, friends, for joining me tonight for our nightly meditation practice. Tonight I'm going to start by reading the discourse that the first discourse that the Buddha presented, which was the setting the Dhamma wheel in motion. And it is the Buddha's first teaching, as I mentioned, and it contains the essence of his enlightenment and the essence of his core Dhamma, the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path. And this is, to me, one of the most important suttas in all the teachings you can find of the Buddha. This is one of the most important. If for no other reason, then it sets the foundation for his teachings for the rest of his ministry. So with that, I will share that screen and we will review that together. Okay, so this is the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, found in the Samyutta Nikaya at 5611. And in English, the setting the Wheel of Dhamma in motion. So you can see there the note at the beginning, according to the Mahavagga I.6, this was the Buddha's first discourse after his awakening. I have heard that on one occasion, the Blessed One was staying near Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana. There he addressed the group of 5 monks. There are these two extremes that are not to be indulged in by one who has gone forth. Which two? That which is devoted to sensual pleasure in connection with sensuality, base, vulgar, common, ignoble, unprofitable, and that which is devoted to self-affliction, painful, ignoble, unprofitable. Avoiding both of these extremes, the middle way, realized by the Tathagata, producing vision, producing knowledge, leads to stilling, to direct knowledge, to self-awakening, to unbinding. And what is the middle way, realized by the Tathagata? That, producing vision, producing knowledge, leads to stilling, to direct knowledge, to self-awakening, to unbinding. Precisely this Noble Eightfold Path: right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This is the middle way, realized by the Tathagata, that, producing vision, producing knowledge, leads to stilling, to direct knowledge, to self-awakening, to unbinding. This is, monks, monks, the noble truth of stress. Sometimes call that suffering. The original word is dukkha. Birth is stressful. Aging is stressful. Death is stressful. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, and despair are stressful. Association with the unbeloved is stressful. Separation from the loved is stressful. Not getting what is wanted is stressful. In short, the 5 clinging aggregates are stressful. And this, monk, is the noble truth of the origination of stress, the craving that makes for further becoming, accompanied by passion and delight, relishing here and now and there. In other words, craving for sensuality, craving for becoming, craving for non-becoming. And this, monks, is the noble truth of the cessation of stress, the remainderless fading into cessation, renunciation, relinquishment, release, and letting go of that very craving. And this, monks, is the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of stress, precisely this noble eightfold path: right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Vision arose, insight arose, discernment arose, knowledge arose, illumination arose within me with regard to things never heard before. This is the noble truth of stress. This is the noble truth of stress this noble truth of stress is to be comprehended. This noble truth of stress has to be comprehended. Vision arose, insight arose, discernment arose, knowledge arose, illumination arose within me with regard to things never heard before. This is the noble truth of the origination of stress. This is the noble truth of the origination of stress is to be abandoned. This noble truth of the origination of stress has been abandoned. Vision arose, insight arose, discernment arose, knowledge arose, illumination arose within me with regard to things never heard before. The truth of the cessation of stress. This is the noble truth of the cessation of stress is to be realized. This noble truth of the cessation of stress has been realized. Vision arose, insight arose, discernment arose, knowledge arose, illumination arose within me with regard to things never heard before. This is the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of stress. This noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of stress is to be developed. This noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of stress has been developed. And monks, as long as this, my 3-round, 12 permutation knowledge and vision concerning these 4 noble truths as they have come to be was not pure, I did not claim to have directly awakened to the right self-awakening, unexcelled in the cosmos with its devas, maras, and brahmas, in this generation with its contemplatives and brahmins, its royalty and common folk. But as soon as this, my 3-round, 12 permutation knowledge and vision concerning these 4 noble truths, as they have come to be, was truly pure, then I did claim to have directly awakened to the right self-awakening, unexcelled in the cosmos with its devas, maras, and brahmas. In this generation, with its contemplatives and brahmins, its royalty and common folk, knowledge and vision arose in me. Unprovoked is my release. This is the last birth. There is now no further becoming. That is what the Blessed One said, gratified. The group of 5 monks delighted in the Blessed One's word. And while this explanation was being given, there arose to the Venerable Kondanya, dustless, stainless Dhamma I. Whatever is subject to origination is subject to cessation. And when the Blessed One had set the wheel of Dhamma in motion, the earth devas cried out, near Varanasi, in the deer park at Isipatana, the Blessed One has set in motion the unexhaled wheel of Dhamma that cannot be stopped by contemplative or Brahman, Deva, Mara, or Brahma, or anyone else at all in the cosmos. On hearing the earth devas cry, the devas of the 4 great kings took up the cry, the devas of the 33, the devas of the hours, the contented devas, the devas delighted in creation, the devas wielding power over the creations of others, the devas of Brahma's retinue took up the cry, near Varanasi, in the deer park at Isipatana, the Blessed One has set in motion the unexhaled wheel of Dhamma that cannot be stopped by contemplative or Brahman, Deva, Mara, or Brahma, or anyone at all in the cosmos. So in that moment, that instant, the cry shot right up to the Brahma worlds, and this 10,000-fold cosmos shivered and quivered and quaked, while a great measureless radiance appeared in the cosmos, surpassing the effulgence of the deities. Then the Blessed One exclaimed, "So you really know, Kondanya? So you really know?" And that is how Venerable Kondanya acquired the name Anya Kondanya. Kondanya, who knows? Yeah, I really enjoy that sutta. That is the perfect discourse of the Buddha to me. Many people have a favorite, and that one's my favorite. It screams to me what Buddhism is. It is those Four Noble Truths and that Noble Eightfold Path. And then you see, as Kondanya realized, anything that is subject to arising is subject to ceasing. That concept of the Buddha that the Buddha taught us about a dependent origination, it's all right there. And that is the foundational discourse of the Buddha. And everything else that comes after that is just highlighting and illuminating those philosophical truths that the Buddha came to realize at that time. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you tonight. You've all who followed me along, you kind of heard my lamentations a little bit about some of my studies and the strength of the Taoism that was coming out in one of the sutras I was reading for my class, and how that weighed unevenly on me. And yet I had a wonderful conversation with my instructor who helped clear up many of those things for me. And in the end, the foundation of my belief in Buddhism is in that discourse on the Buddha setting the wheel of Dhamma in motion. And so I encourage you to read it. If you want to know what Buddhism is about, that is it. That is the one that tells you what it's about. Everything else is explaining that. Everything else is explaining that. And how we learn to achieve that. So it's not easy. But it is there. So anyway, with that, we will go into our meditation practice for tonight. And I invite you to the bells, and we will close as we always do with the reading of the Bodhicitta prayer. So. The Bodhicitta Prayer. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Thank you for meditating with me tonight, and I hope you'll have a good evening, and see you tomorrow. Good night.